Hello everyone, welcome to class series, and in this video we're gonna be discussing our question answers of the poem The Axe in the Wood. So let's move on to our first main, that is C1. Answer the following questions and share your responses. In that, our first question is, what words in stanza 1 and 2 mean? Option A, 100 year. Option B, scene. The answer of this question is, first question, 100 year. It means centuries. Option 2, scene. That means sight. Our second question is, make a list of all the words that are used in the poem to describe the axe. The answer of this question is, the words that are used in the poem to describe the words axe are quick, sharp, glittering, and bright. Our third question is, read the following words: trunk, axe, wood, timber, tree. Which word does not fit in the above list? The answer of this question is, the word that does not fit in the above list is axe. So let's move on to our second main, that is C2. Answer the following questions. Pick up the most appropriate one from those given in the brackets. In that, our first question is, what did the man strike the tree with? The options are knife, axe, stickle, saw. The answer of this question is axe. Our second question is, who were watching the sight of the man cutting the tree? The options are women, people, woodcutters, children. The answer of this question is people. Our third question is, what did the tree look like? The options are small, strong, weak, and dry. The answer of this question is strong. Let's move on to our next main, that is C3. Read and discuss your responses with your partner, then write. In that, our first question is, who do you think I refers to in this poem? The answer of this question is, the word or the letter I refers to the poet. Our second question is, why do you think the poet stopped? The answer of this question is, the poet stopped because to watch the scene of a man cutting a tree. Our third question is, which line tells us that the tree is aged? The answer of this question is, the line that tells us that the tree is aged is, of a tree grown strong through many centuries. Our fourth question is, does the poem mean that cutting a tree is a huge loss for human beings? Which lines support your answer? The answer of this question is yes, definitely. The poem means that cutting a tree is a huge loss for human beings. The answer can be supported by these lines. Had more good in it than a growing tree, but I saw that cut down 1,000 men. Let's move on to our fifth question, that is, do you think the poet wrote this poem while the tree was being cut? Support your answer by picking up the relevant line or lines from the poem. The answer of this question is no, I don't think the poet did not write this poem while the tree was being cut. The lines that support or tells us that the poet did not write the poem while the tree was being cut are: first line, I stopped to watch a man strike at the trunk. Second line, and I remember how I liked the sight. He remembers the scene which he had watched of a man cutting a tree. He wrote it later. Our sixth question is, do you think the poet has made his intention clear to the reader at the end? Which line supports your answer? The answer of this question is yes, the poet has made his intention clear to the reader at the end. Poet's intention was to tell the effect of indiscriminate cutting of trees. The last line clears his intention to the reader, but saw that cut down 1,000 men in that tall lovely legacy of wood. Let's move on to our seventh question, that is, what message does this poem gives us? The answer of this question is, the poem gives the message of the harmful effects caused by cutting down of trees. Basically, cutting of one tree is equal to killing of thousands of people. This means that one tree helps in the survival of thousands of living beings by providing us oxygen to breathe and survive in the world. So, we should not cut the trees and save the planet Earth. Our eighth question is, what do you learn about the trees from this poem? The answer of this question is, cutting of trees carelessly or using it as a strategy of making money by a man is a huge loss for human beings and planet Earth. So, we should not cut the trees, we have to grow trees and nature to save the planet Earth. Our ninth question is, but I saw death cut down 1,000 men. Explain, what does the poet mean by lovely legacy of wood? The answer of this question is the poet had seen the scene of a man cutting a tree by his naked eye. The man was cutting one tree, but poet had seen that cutting 1,000 men in his mind. He saw the killing of men in each cut on a tree. One tree could help the survival of 1,000 men. Lovely legacy of wood basically means that something handed down by predecessors or a gift left by will. Our predecessors had not cut that tree, they left it to us for our survival. But instead of using it for survival purpose, we are cutting down the trees carelessly. Our 10th question is a sonnet is a poem of 14 lines. Usually, a sonnet has a rhyme scheme. Is this poem a sonnet? Check whether this poem has a rhyme scheme or not. The answer of this question is yes, this poem is a sonnet, but this poem has no rhyme scheme. Let's move to our last question of this poem, that is 11th question. Do you find any expression of irony in this poem? The answer of this question is yes, I found an expression of irony in this poem. Poet saw the scene of a man cutting a tree. He knows the ill effects and outcomes of indiscriminate cutting of trees. Poet says that he liked the scene of a cutting a tree. People gathered there to watch the man cutting the tree, and they praise the man and his acts, and are really opposite in meanings to the fact that poet knows about the ill effects of cutting off trees.